All right, welcome back. I'm Gary Power. We're at the Nashville market, and we have Linda Vinson of the why can't I remember this? Needlemade Designs. Geez, it's a simple name. Needlemade Designs. Linda has some fascinating things, and the one at the end is going to be mind-blowing. So we're saving that. So here we go.
Okay.
All right.
We'll
What do we
show
got?
this little guy quickly. This is motifs that I took off of a Scottish sampler that I own and made a little project out of it. And this is in the cookbook that's available from your shops that was put together. Recipes came from designers, recipes came from shops, and there are, I think, 20 or 30 free designs in that cookbook as well. And this is one of them. This is the very last one in the book, so I batted cleanup for everybody.
All right, well played. All right.
This is the next one. It's called Nancy's
Oh, this is a story. This is a story behind this. I like this.
Nancy is a very good friend of mine, and she's an amazing artist. So she came up with a little...
No, I stomped all over her name, so say her name again.
That's okay. Her name is Nancy Mills.
Okay.
She's a beautiful artist, and she's also a button collector. So she did a little watercolor and put buttons onto her watercolor. I loved it so much, I asked her if I could turn it into a stitched piece and put buttons on my stitched piece. And she said, oh yeah, sure. So we've done that, and I've also got a link on there for you to be able to go to Nancy's Etsy shop and get these antique China calico buttons. If you don't have a button collection of your own, you can go get some buttons to put onto yours. And then there's one down here, Gary, where we used that same pattern and did it over one on the Weeks gingham and used little tiny buttons on that one. So they're little, I think they're 3/8 inch mother of pearl.
It's such a nice, simple little design, and those buttons just add such a dimension. It's really nice.
Yeah, if you've got some special buttons from your mother or grandmother, it's a great way to display them so that you get to see them every day. You don't have to pull out a button box to take a look at
Right.
them.
Yeah. Very creative. Yes.
Thanks. And then the one here in the corner is called the Mexican Rainbow Sampler. For some obvious reasons, this girl did not.
Yes, some obvious reasons.
This girl did a lovely piece, but she didn't leave us her name or a date. But I love the thing. It's got stitching over 2, stitching over 4, and satin stitch in there. And it was on the. There's a little girl with a lead rope to her horse. There's a prancing horse down at the bottom. Right there's a pagoda, and it looks like a bird that's just about to attack that little church. But and then some birds and dogs and crowns. Beautiful alphabets. And then down at the bottom, there's more motifs of, let's see, there's a donkey and a prancing horse and a stork. I don't know that I've seen many storks on pieces before. And she is a big girl, but about half of her is stitched over 4 threads instead of over 2, so she goes much more quickly than you might think.
Okay, and here's the original down here.
Yes, that's the antique.
So not every day we get to see the original next to the reproduction, but that original is in superb shape, huh?
It is, as I think from the style of it, we don't have a date on there, but from the style, I think it's probably about the 1830s, and it's survived remarkably well.
Yeah, because
And
look
here,
at
let me
that rainbow colors.
Yeah.
And I'll go up to here. There's not a whole lot of difference. Yeah.
Yeah, they've darkened a little with age on the antique, but one of the fun things, because this was never framed, you can take a look and see the colors really didn't fade all that much on
No,
this.
they didn't. No. Wow. That's unusual, huh?
That's very unusual.
Yeah. Wow.
So just next to that
Excellent.
then, here, is Jeannette Power. She did give us a name, but not a date. But we, again, believe it's about the 1830s. She's probably Mexican. She's probably German, Austrian, or possibly Dutch. It's a Biedermeier style. And because I bought the original at a breast cancer research fundraiser, I've decided that my profits from this one are going to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation.
Oh. Nice.
But it's a beautiful beautiful 2 or 3 alphabets, some great little motifs, and just a really sweet piece.
Yeah.
And again, when we flip this one over, the colors are not all that different.
No, held up well. Yeah. Ah, beautiful. Very nice.
Thank you.
And over
And
here.
then the last one before the finale, this is a Scottish sampler. I guess,
Trust me, folks, you won't be disappointed in the finale.
so this is the antique. Now this one, the colors did change quite a bit, and I'll just turn the whole thing over if you
Okay.
like. It faded because
Oh, wow. It sure did.
it was quite bright to begin with.
Yeah.
And I started to reproduce this with the brighter colors from the back.
Too much?
It was too much.
Yeah.
And so I decided what I fell in love with was the colors from the front, so I reproduced it with the colors from the front.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to somebody else the other day, and they said that they were able to look at the back, and it was like, no, not that. Not that.
Yeah, sometimes age is our friend.
Yeah. So then the reproduction here makes, because this is of some size.
Right. This was done on probably 14 count Penelope cloth.
Yeah, I was going to say that's Penelope, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was done with pearl cottons.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to do it on this, but I put it on the 46 count that Weeks Dye Works has just started doing for us. And so it's on 46 count Confederate gray.
That's really nice.
Well, especially when you're traveling with these to shows and to sending them off to what do they call it? But anyway, around to shops and whatnot, it's so much easier to send them when they're small than when they're big.
Right. Well, and good move on the colors. That's a nice.
Thank you.
This I can stand to look at.
You could live with this one, the other one not so
Oh
much.
boy, that backside, that's powerful.
Well, it kind of went from the eight box crayon box to the 64
Right,
box.
right. Okay.
Okay, this is our finale piece, and this started out about almost 20 years ago. I took a class from Darlene Osteen with her Queen sampler, and I absolutely loved it. But as we were going through, Darlene hadn't completely finished stitching hers. So she told us, well, just do whatever you want. And so I took it to heart. I decided the Queen would be Elizabeth, and so she's got red turkey work hair and she's got a crown, and I tried to make her dress as extravagant as I could. And so I finished it and it hung on my wall very peacefully for a lot of years. And then Nicola's Facebook group, Our Sampler Years, there was a weekend where they said, show pictures of the piece that you've done with the most different types of stitches. And so I put up some pictures of this, and it kind of blew up, and everybody wanted to know what changes I'd made. And I'd made quite a few to the colors and stitches, so I produced a stitch guide. You need both this, if you want one to look just like this, you need the pattern for the Queen sampler, which is thankfully back in print again. For years it was out of print, but Vicki of Needlework Press bought the rights from Darlene, and she has brought it back so that we can still have this wonderful sampler. And then the stitch guide next to it shows you all of the changes to make it look like the one that I did. I added probably 10, 15 different stitches, changed a lot of colors, and I also, by some miracle, had my threads set aside, so I was able to compare those to today's dye lots and correct numbers so that, because some of those dye lots changed pretty significantly. And so I was able to correct the numbers to use today's dye lots, but make it look like what Darlene originally designed.
Mm-hmm. And then in the stitch guide, then you have a large photo of this,
Yes.
front and back, because this is reversible.
Yes, there's an 11 by 17 photo, one of the front and one of the back. So you've got two 11 by 17 color photos in there. And then with each section that I go through, I give some pretty detailed photos for you to take a look at of, each of the ladies has their own picture on their own page. But I loved this sampler. I learned an incredible amount doing this sampler. And this was really the beginning of my love of reversible stitching.
Mm-hmm. Well, this one will certainly stick with you. That's a good one. Wow, it's beautiful. And I love those designs. I don't know what it is about those designs where then we go to the ecru work down at the bottom.
Right.
There's something about those. It just has a different, yeah.
Yeah, well, historically, the girls would have done one in color to begin with, and then they would have done a separate whitework sampler once they were a little more advanced.
Uh-huh.
But as time went by, as we all know, things got simpler and simpler and simpler. So as time went by, they went to where they were doing one sampler that had both the color and the whitework on the one piece.
Okay, so that's how that happens.
So that's how that happened.
Oh, okay. All right. Linda, thanks so much. Enjoyed
You're
it.
so welcome. Thank you, Gary.